A very, very good afternoon to everyone on this New Year's Day. Hope everybody had a great New Year celebrations there, and I hope you all stayed safe and well. Obviously, this is Raju from the Women Agenda channel live on YouTube button for all notifications. And like I said, we have some massive things happening now. We're in 2022 with me and my podcasting partner, who I will reveal very soon who that person is. And we have a bookshop which is coming up, which we will be discussing and will be launching very soon. Today, like the template says, we're talking about it's a special program, part one of about Afghan women. You can see the email address below. Get in touch if you want to sponsor the podcast. This is the channel which showcases the women in a different way than in majority of places. On the YouTube, we aim to be different. We aim to showcase in different way programs, but also hard-hitting debates like the Big Debate Special, for example, and also programs about women and what's happening and rights and everything. And this Afghanistan women, which we're talking about, is going to be an example of that. And 2022, we're going to be bringing many stuff like this, and we're hoping to bring someone who was in Afghanistan, a woman, and trying to get in touch with a few, and hopefully I can get them on board, so they can tell their voice. It will be an interview, obviously, about how it is, unscripted, and that's how I believe it should be when it comes to interviews and their stories. I don't even think it's an interview, really. I don't believe the interviews. I believe it's their story. It's a woman's story, their way, and that's what it's all about. So let's kick it off exactly how it should be. So it's Afghanistan women, their battle. Now we all know the Afghanistan women since US, withdraw their troops, and obviously UK followed. We all knew that, and since then, Afghanistan women have no rights at all. I mean, remembering the first thing which happened when the Taliban realized that the U.S. Army was withdrawing their troops. We all saw what happened to that the beauty shop got black painted all over. And all the beauty shops got blacked out, black paint. I mean, are we living in Antarctica? Are we living in the 18th, the whatever BC? Where are we living at? Where women have no rights at all? I mean, it's absolutely, it's a disgraceful thing ever, and we will. With my co-participant having a debate about this as well in 2022, and raising this issue more because it needs to be raised and their voices need to be heard, and I firmly believe in that. And regarding that, what happened? I mean, basically, in one day, everything got shut down for women. There's women. First Afghanistan woman pilot who I'm trying to bring on board, so she can tell a story, and we saw what happened to her, and we also saw how the women journalists in Afghanistan, they were forced to stop working. And are we actually being serious here? Are we being serious? I mean, where do these people live? Government, who they think they are telling women, you cannot do your work. You cannot be a journalist. You cannot be a pilot. You cannot be in the army. What on earth is going on? And US did not help at all this matter because they withdrew all their troops, which I firmly believe, in my opinion, that was the wrong thing to do. if you're withdrawing your troops, then you withdraw them in a slow by slow basis. You don't withdraw your troops all straight away, because if you're doing that, then you're going to cause the same issue which happened earlier when the Taliban were ruling. And we also, what happened then? It was the same thing. Women had no rights. It was chaos. You could do anything. And it's the same now as well. I mean, what's different? Now they're running a government where they're asking for aid, they're asking for this, they're asking for that, and they're running on aid basically. They have no money, and obviously they didn't think anything through, because they never do. And that's the simple thing about it. We will obviously have more of a discussion about this in a second, guys, but let's just drop into the first article I want to discuss today about Afghanistan women. And it is about it's some good news that Afghanistan women judges are being allowed. Now let's have a look at the thumbnail of this. So Afghanistan women judges resettle in Canada. So some good news there for them. They'll be trying to resettle. Now Canada will take in, this is courtesy of globalnews.ca, Canada will take in female Afghan judges and their families who have been living in limbo, primarily in Greece, since the evacuation from Afghanistan in the fall. A spokesperson for the immigration minister said Friday. In addition to the judges and their families, a group totaling about 230 people, Canada will also resettle in an unspecified number of Afghanistans from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer communities who have been referred by third-party aid organizations, the spokesperson said. Now, they're expected to come to Canada next year, but Canada has promised to resettle 40,000 Afghan refugees, but has no timeline for doing so. Since the Taliban took control of the country after the US troop withdrawal in August, Canada has resettled 3,915 Afghans with connection to the Canadian government, and another 2,535 on humanitarian grounds, according to government figures. Afghan women made great strides in the 2 decades since the Taliban last ruled the country from 1996 to 2001. Bastions such as the judiciary, the media, and politics, all the achievements of 20 years came back to zero within the blink of an eye, said Fresta Masuni, a family court judge, staying nothing with her toddler daughters. Since returning to power, the Taliban have pledged to protect women's rights in accordance with Islamic law, announcing a general amnesty for all former state workers, but advocates fear a backslide to when women were not allowed to work and girls were banned from school. Even if they can't leave the country, Afghanistan asylum seekers may face years of wait. And Western countries usually resettle refugees referred by the UN Refugee Agency, which has limited capacity to process applications for resettlement. So the biggest bottleneck there's an issue that referral partners in the region have not been able to ramp up capacity. Canada's immigration minister, Sean Fraser, told Reuters earlier this month, these challenges are going to take a little bit of time to sort out. Afghanistan refugee situation is different from the Syrian refugee crisis that UN Refugee Agency officials and advocates say. Now we will talk about some more of what I was saying. We'll go on to the next article I wanted to discuss, which is Secret Diaries of Changing Lives. This is courtesy of bbc.co.uk article. On 15th of August, as we said, is a day of judgment. It was a day of judgment. These are the stories of Afghanistan women. On 15th August 2021, Mari, a former soldier in the Afghan army, has an almost identical experience at 7:30 a.m. Expecting a busy day of meetings and conferences. Stepping aside, she immediately notices that the streets are eerily quiet, but she continues on her way, getting out her phone to check her calendar for meetings. "You've come to work," say astonished male colleagues when she walks in. "I don't think Kabul is going to fall," she replies. But she barely put down her bag when her boss confronts her. "Go and tell all the women to go home," he says. She does as she's told, going from room to room, telling female employees. Her boss asks her to go home. She refuses. "As long as my male colleagues are staying and working, I am too," she says. Mari, not just any member of staff, she's a highly ranked official with an impressive military record, and her boss reluctantly accepts what she says. But as the day goes by, reports of the Taliban entering Kabul become impossible to ignore. Mari's bosses decide to shut the ministry doors and send everyone home. Elsewhere in the city, Katera, a geography teacher, is starting a new lesson. Her 40 students, all teenage boys, flick through the book to find the right page. Before long, other teachers enter the classroom holding their phones. There are conflicting reports on Facebook. Some say the Taliban are in Kwarga, a town on the outskirts of Kabul. Some say they're in Kohit-e-Sangi, already inside the city. The head teacher soon stops lessons and sends everyone home. When Katera reaches the bus stop, she sees people running in every direction, carrying luggage and children. Traffic is everyone is Sadagan, she writes. The Dari word for lost is like the day of judgment here. Katira starts walking to begin with she's not worried, but then she notices Afghan soldiers heading for the airport with their bags on their backs, their children walking behind, holding the ends of their mother's scarves. Everyone is leaving. Katira's heart races and she starts jogging. Now she knows the Taliban are back. It's the worst nightmare, she keeps repeating under her breath. At roughly the same American University of Afghanistan receives an email saying she'll be evacuated to the US within 48 hours. She makes a quick journey to Sharhi, now an area of northwest Kabul that's good for shopping to buy last-minute travel essentials. She too suddenly sees people running and asks what's going on. The first person she stops is in too much of a hurry to answer, but then a man tells her the Taliban have taken Kabul. Zala goes, "No, I'm losing all my strength, my hands, and I start feeling shaking. How will I make it home?" she thinks to herself. She cries as she passes cafes and restaurants where she regularly caught up with friends, drank coffee, listened to music. Her world flashes in front of her. She's too young to have known Taliban rule, but she heard horror stories from her parents. When she gets on the flight, this will be her future. On 4th of September, women had protested. We will continue this story, like I said, on the next show on part 2 of Afghanistan Women and the Battle. We'll just go on to the next article for now, which is Afghanistan Women Call for Rights. So this is courtesy of aljazeera.com, the channel, their website is an article. So Afghanistan women call for rights and protest against alleged Taliban killings. Protesters say former soldiers and ex-employees of the overthrown government are under direct threat. A crowd of women have marched through the Afghan capital calling for women's rights to be respectfully, covertly killing soldiers who served the former United States-backed government. About 30 women gathered near a mosque in the center of Kabul on Tuesday and marched a few hundred meters chanting "Justice, Justice" before they were stopped by Taliban forces, an AFP correspondent reported. The Taliban also tried to prevent journalists from covering the march organized against the mysterious murders of young people, particularly the country's former soldiers, according to social media invitations. for the march. We detained a group of reporters, confiscated equipment from some photographers, deleting images from the cameras before returning them. Since the Taliban returned to power in August, it has effectively banned unsanctioned protests, frequently intervened to block demonstrations against its rule. The protests come weeks after separate reports by the United Nations, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch said there were incredibly allegations of more than 100 extrajudicial killings by the Taliban since the takeover. I want to tell the world, tell the Taliban to stop killing. We want freedom. We want justice. We want human rights. Protestani told the AFP news agency in a statement read aloud by the protester Leila Bassam. The demonstration called on the Taliban to stop its criminal machine. The statement said former soldiers and ex-employees of the overthrown government are under direct threat, violating a general amnesty announced by the Taliban in August. The protesters also add objections to the chatting restrictions women are facing under the Taliban rule. The government issued new guidelines other weekend banning women from traveling on this unless escorted by a close relative. Women's rights are human rights. We must defend our rights, said Koistani. Speaking from Kabul, Mahbooba Siraj, chair of the Afghan Women's Network, said the move made it difficult for women to get around as many do not have a modern male guardian to accompany them. This is another way of placing restrictions on women for no apparent reason, she told Al Jazeera. Taliban leaders have sought to protect a more moderate image in recent months in clubbing, saying women and girls would be able to tell law. Schools for girls under the Taliban is erratic, and many provinces they are not allowed to attend schools after grade 6. But in more than 10 provinces, schools are open. Video posted online on Tuesday showed another woman protest held elsewhere in the capital, also called women to be allowed education and work opportunities. Taliban fighters fight in the air, bringing in a protest demanding improved food supply and work opportunities. And also, there's some good news regarding Afghanistan women. The U.S. This is courtesy of Afghanistan Times.af. The U.S. has appointed 2 women diplomats to senior posts representing Washington in Afghanistan as a under the new Taliban rule. On Wednesday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken appointed Rina Amiri as a special envoy for Afghanistan women, girls, and human rights. Amiri has spent 2 decades advising governments, the UN, and think tank on issues related to Afghanistan. Under former U.S. President Barack Obama, she served as a senior advisor to the U.S. Special Representative for Afghanistan and Pakistan. On Twitter, Blink said Rina brings over 2 decades of expertise and specializing knowledge that will advance our vital network towards a more peaceful, stable, and secure Afghanistan for all. So that's some good news there. So there's some good news on there. I think it's about time I put the light on here. Actually, it's getting so dark. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just forgot what time it was in the UK. There is about 4 o'clock. Oh no, obviously we know about 4 o'clock. It gets dark now these days, as we're in January and it's getting even darker. Yeah, I've got a bit of I think it's a little bit of a cold going on. It's nothing more than that. Trust me. I've not been anywhere, not been out and about at all, not been nowhere. So I've kept it safe in the last week or so. To follow the guidelines and everything else, like you do, wearing the face mask and stuff. So yeah, so I know it's just a cold, but slight cold. But that is part one of the Afghanistan Women Day battle. Part two will be on next week. So do watch that. Please click on the subscribe for the channel. We will be bringing more hard-hitting content, and we will also be try to bring some Afghanistan women who were in Afghanistan on board and allowing and getting their message across to the world. What exactly they've had to suffer. We want to raise their voices. We want them to, tell the world exactly what kind of torture, injustice has been happening there. And every little does help, and every little makes a difference. You know, and if we all can raise our voice and believe every little can make a difference, be able to eventually something will happen in Afghanistan which will help the women there, because obviously we know even the women's sports teams and stuff, they've all evacuated, they've all gone out of Afghanistan. Obviously they had to, because they couldn't play football, they couldn't play cricket. It's absolutely crazy injustice, and something we should never have happened on there. And let's hope that the situation improves. All the countries are helping in the aid, which is fair enough. That's understandable, because they need the food. They need to feed the people. I understand that part, but Taliban need to improve the situation on the ground. They need to give women their rights. They deserve rights. They're equal to guys, and I would believe that they are the stronger gender, according to me as well. So that is that. I will be back later on with another program. It's a program about 2022 this year. Who are the breakout models to watch out for, and who have been making a difference in the model area. So watch out for the women models, the breakout models. A program on that, and watch out for Bollywood Central as well today. Get in touch if you want to sponsor the podcast, advertise with us. The email address is blowtimespotlight309@gmail.com. If you want to be a guest on here, get in touch on the email address. You can find us on all our social media channels on here. Twitter, Raju at Female Spotlight, and on Facebook at Woman Talent Podcast. So that's that, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day, and like I said, I'll see you later on with the special program also look out for, and also Bollywood Central. Until then, I hope you are having a nice New Year's relaxation day and enjoy it wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening. Please follow your government rules and regulations regarding the COVID-19. Stay safe, keep your family, friends safe. and having a fantastic day, guys. I'll see you. This is Raju from the Woman Agenda channel saying I will see you guys later.